Hi, Victoria. Thank you for joining us. We are just waiting for a couple of more people to log in, and then we can start the session, okay? Hi, Sylvia. Thank you for joining. So just a few more minutes as we wait for more people to trickle in, and then we can start the session. So hi, everyone. Again, thank you for joining today's session. First, I'd like to congratulate all of you for being selected as part of the Colors for Africa Incubator program, which is specifically for African creative entrepreneurs. You're among the 40 businesses that were selected. And today we do have a session on design thinking workshop, which will be led by Chuma, who is logged in with us again. So I do hope you get a lot out of this session. We do have more sessions taking place today, later on from 2 p.m. as well, and another one at 3 p.m. And we also do have sessions taking place tomorrow, sorry. Do make sure to check your emails. We have shared the program, and we will be sending reminders as well, just to make sure that you're able to log in with us. So again, welcome. I'll have Chuma take over.
Hi everyone, welcome. I know people don't like putting on their cameras. It's actually nice to see faces and place the names by the faces. So if you don't mind, if you can, just flash your camera and introduce yourself. And yeah, I'll introduce myself at the end. I think I want to flip it a bit. Let me introduce myself at the end. So yeah, if we can see your face, tell us who you are, what you do, I think we can have that for the next 2 or 3 minutes while we wait for other people to come in as well. And then we'll just go ahead. I mean, you guys will be the only ones to introduce yourselves. I don't think we can do it for everyone. So yeah, let's go for it.
I think I should start. I actually didn't introduce myself.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So hi everyone. My name is Rose Domo. I am a project manager at Thundafund. So Thundafund is a crowdfunding platform, and we have set up this program to help creatives crowdfund and raise funds for the business to grow and thrive. So I am excited to be with you guys, and I'm excited to get to know you personally as well. So welcome everyone. I think the best thing we can do is I can select the next person. I'd like to select Victoria.
I think Victoria was going
Yeah,
to.
Victoria was ready.
Hi everyone. I'm not sure you can hear me. Can you?
Yes,
Clearly.
ma'am.
Okay. Hi, I'm Victoria Como. I am a photographer and also filmmaker. Yes, I am so happy to have this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Sylvia, as the next on my screen, are you willing and ready?
Hi, everyone. My name is Sylvia Omina. I'm the founder and creative director of Omina Otieno. We make jewelry from banana fiber, and I'm happy to be a part of this.
That's interesting. Really interesting. I think I can remember that banana fiber brand. It's nice. See what we have. Okay, thank you for coming. Joy. Okay, I don't think Joy. Okay, she's unmuted. Yeah, you don't have to turn on your camera actually, just for us to see the faces. But yeah, you can go ahead and just talk. Okay, cool.
I'm sorry. Hi.
Hi.
I don't look camera ready. My
No,
name
it's
is
fine.
Joy.
The Zoom in.
Okay. My name is Joy. I'm a creative. I own a queer business. I am queer myself. I am a non-binary person. And yeah, I own a queer business where I make queer beaded merchandise from bracelets. I brand hoodies and t-shirts and cups. Yeah, leather bags, all the things, as long as that they are just queer related. Thank you.
Cool. That's supporting the community. Gloria is on eventually. I think she had some problem signing in. Gloria, do you want us to see your face and what you do?
Yeah, okay, just a minute.
Okay, cool.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Okay, I'm from a company called Hub Africa, and we are basically an online platform where women can get all the details concerning their hairstyles, from the hairstyle name, the location of purchase, the price of the braid, to the name of the stylist and the location of the stylist. Yes. Basically, we are an online library for women's hairstyle.
And the platform, I think I saw that the platform is live, right? I mean, I remember seeing the platform that aggregates hair products for women. I remember reading that. With the platform live?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
We just went live just last month.
Okay. So thank you everyone for coming. The other people that will join us will just have to roll along with us because you're not gonna repeat this again. My name is Chuma. Okay, somebody's coming in. Let's hold on a bit. Yeah. Barbara, can you hear us? Oh, she's still connected. Okay. Barbara, we were just introducing ourselves and about to start when you hopped on. Do you want to introduce yourself or yeah, it would be nice to see your face and hear your voice.
Hi, sorry, I'm in transit, so I hope my voice is okay.
It's all right. Good.
Yeah, my name is Barbara Wanjiko. I'm a visual artist. I don't know what else we're supposed to share.
That's fine. That's fine. That's all.
Okay.
So I get the sense we're all designers and makers here. So my name is Chuma. I wear many hats, and today I'm going to be the facilitator of this session. And I am a designer. I've been practicing for well over a decade, and I've created and run a couple of design concerns, a design consultancy and a design hub back in Lagos, Nigeria. I recently moved to Kenya and I'm just doing my work. Same thing I've been doing, pushing the creative industries practice and sharing knowledge and skills. Just before we go into the slides, I'd like to set a few ground rules. Please, I really would like to be interjected at any point in time. Sorry, what I mean is that you can stop me anytime and ask any question. I really want this session to be very interactive. I'm going to be sharing slides just to guide us, but I want us to have very serious, not very serious. I want us to have a conversation style workshop. So yeah, I'll just ask a question and see if anyone wants to go for it before we then start sharing the slides. So design thinking. What is design thinking? Does anyone want to just go at it? There are no wrong and right answers, by the way. I just want to have a feel of what is this design thinking that we keep hearing. Everybody's doing a design thinking course or a session or something. It's been a rave for the last 10 years. So yeah, what is design thinking? Does anybody want to? Yeah, Gloria. Gloria, you want to answer? Oh, am I committed? Okay. No answers. Wow. No. I need someone to try to define what design thinking is. Oh, I'm going to nominate someone. Okay. Joy, she wants to bail us out. Okay.
Let me try.
Joy says she doesn't know. It's fine. It's good not to know. That's why we're here. It's cool not to know.
Okay. Okay. And my pronouns are they, not she. I think design thinking is oh God, I wish I could say it in Swahili. How you purpose to show your business to now the world. The design in which you put it together in a way that it's attractive to your customers, your investors. Yeah, I think I'd say that. I don't know.
Okay, that's a good attempt. You're not right, you're not wrong. It's what you said is part of design thinking in terms of presentation and showcasing your product. Sylvia says it is a strategy used by creatives in the process of designing. Absolutely correct. It's a strategy, it's a plan. So I'm just going to share my screen, and for the benefit of I think two persons just joined us. We had introduced ourselves. One more person. We had introduced ourselves, and we're just going to proceed with the session. And ground rules, please feel free to stop me and ask any questions. So I am going to share the slides. So now I cannot see anybody, but everybody can see me. Can you see my slides?
Yes.
Yes, 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 we can.
We are going to be unmuting ourselves a lot, so let's just get ready. The slides are not on full screen, right? Or is it on full screen?
No, they're not. They're not on full screen.
Okay, I think I want to make it full screen so that it'll be very clear. Yeah, there we go. So design thinking is basically the way designers think. I know that sounds funny, but that's what it is. It is the way designers think, right? And why do we want to learn about design thinking? Why do we want to learn design thinking? Because we are all designers already. There's something that happens when you're conscious of a process that you normally engage in, but you're not aware of what it is. So all of you here went through a design thinking process this morning. You woke up, you thought about what you're going to do for the day, which is research, and you looked at your wardrobe and you picked out the best outfit based on what you want to do, whether you wanted to go to work or join this session or hang out. Or the point is that you start out from a place of identifying what you want to do, and then you find what is suitable to wear, timings, where to go, and all of that. That is basically what design thinking is. It's that process that designers take when they move from problem to solution. So what is design? So there are two words. Design thinking is made up of two words, right? So we'll define design and then we'll see how that goes to thinking. So design is a plan. Throughout the course of my career, I've had to always correct this notion when you ask people what is design and they tell you it is graphic design or it is fashion design, right? I find that very interesting, that anytime we think of design, what comes to our head is either graphic design, mostly graphic design, actually. But when you look at it, you begin to realize that every single object around us is the product of design. The devices we are using is product of design. The interface we're using is a product of design. The clothes we wear is a product of design. The shoes we wear is a product of design. The cars we drive in is a product of design, right? If you begin to understand design from that place, you see that it's actually generally a plan, right? A framework upon which things are developed or built or used or worked on. Importantly, design is a commercial activity, right? And this is actually one of the things that differentiates design from art. And clearly, art is not design. Design is not art. But to practice both, you need similar skills, right? But the practice then defines it. In design, you are creating for others, right? In art, you are expressing yourself. So an artwork is an artist's idea or expression or statement about something, a concept, or whatever it is they feel, right? It is not tied to any other person's requirements or needs or anything. It is just straight. Sorry, okay, I was just pausing to read the comments. Okay, yeah, I get all of that. So that's the difference. But an artist can be a designer and a designer can become an artist. Just needed to say that. Design is a commercial activity in the sense that there is money to be made. There is you create a product and then it goes to a market, right? So design is a commercial activity. Art may not be commercial. It could just be, I just like painting and I don't sell them. I don't live off them, or I like singing, or I like writing. You could decide to commercialize your art, but design by default is a commercial activity. Design is a process. I just explained that. It's a process with an outcome that is already more or less pre-planned, not by chance. You put a couple of indices together on your way to that end, right? It's a roadmap. It's a strategic approach to engaging and solving in problems. Design is what we do every day. Yeah, so leave all this big grammar. Design is actually what you do every single day. We keep designing our lives, right? So, but for professional purposes, the designer is a business professional who develops solutions, solutions to commercial needs that require the balancing of technical, commercial, human, and aesthetic or emotional needs. I want us to take note of these three things, right? A design has to be technically feasible, possible, in terms of the technology that is available at the time should be able to bring that design to life, right? Design has to be commercially viable. It means it would be a commercial success, or at least have some commercial value, right? And then it has to solve a problem, which is a human or emotional or aesthetic need, but basically a human. I like pushing the envelope a bit and say design is an activity-centered process, right? Because it's about an activity around a project, a product, or some human interaction, right? If we want to hang out in a party, then we need seats, we need music, all those are design elements around the human activity. So the speakers gives you music, right, which is a human activity for you to dance. The club is a design space that enables humans to be able to drink, go crazy, dance, sweat it out, and have certain expression. The living room, for instance, is a space designed to power a human activity, right? So I like to see design as that thing that is technically possible, feasible, economically viable, and solves a problem in terms of enabling human interaction, right? So a designer is that engineer, is a mix actually between an engineer, a technician, and an artist, right? An artist relies a lot on their intuition. They just get things come to them. That's what you call creativity, right? But your creativity then needs to go in a plan, right? And it's a technical process of making that thing, whether it's going to become a tangible product or a service, which is an intangible product. A designer, most work of designers are made by others, not by the designers, right? Of course, there are design professions that make their stuff, and we classify those as designer makers. But traditionally, designers don't make their stuff. So if you go back to what I said, the slide before, you see that design is a plan. That's the best definition of design, actually. Design is a plan, right? So the architect creates the plan for the masons to build. The furniture designer creates the plan for the carpenters and the fundies to make. The fashion designer creates the patterns that the makers use. And please, if you want to ask a question, just straight up unmute yourself and talk. Don't worry, we'll be fine. Yeah, so if I say something that you need a clarification, please. I see, sorry, if I don't pronounce your name properly, don't be upset with me. That's Mowgli, right? Amen. Are you there? Can you just wave your hand or say hi or something? Because I know that I'm not talking to myself.
Hi. I'm like, is that all about like strategy, mostly?
When you start, you mean?
Sorry?
You say what's about strategy?
You said no designer comes up with their work. So
Okay, I think you're breaking up, but if I get what you're saying, you're trying to ask if that designers don't create their work. Is it a strategy or something? It's actually it's what the profession is. And I'm just giving examples. When it comes to art, the artist most times is the person that creates the final product. So if you're a painter, you're the one doing the painting. If you're a sculptor, you're the one doing the sculpture work. If you're a musician, you're singing. But most design professions are not the ones that with their hands make their works, right? And I've given examples. The fashion designer that most designers actually are not the ones that get on the machine to sew those clothes, right? They design them. They have tailors that work with them. The architect is not the one that lays the blocks and buildings, right? But it designs the building and then supervises. The furniture designer is not the one that takes the nail and hammer and starts cutting traditionally. However, some designers are also involved in making their products, and we classify those as designer makers. It's actually a profession by itself. Essentially, a designer plans things for production, manufacture, construction, or deployment. The difference between a designer and a craftsperson or artist is that designers usually develop things that have requirements set by others and ultimately will be produced, manufactured, constructed, or deployed by others. So the guy that designed the iPhone designed it with the user in mind, not for themselves. And I think this is a very clear-cut divide between art and design. Because when it comes to art, it is largely self-expression. You're then just buying it because you like the work of the artist. But when it comes to design, you're not designing what you just like. You're designing a product that other people will use. So the designer is essentially the planner. And some established design disciplines you can see on the screen. It's always ever expanding and growing. You have automotive design, communication, fashion, graphics, web. These are all designed, instructional design, name them. You can keep going. And you have some emerging ones. I've used this slide for quite a while. So some of these are no longer emerging. But yes, the designer coder, for instance, in the tech space, where you have what has then become UI design, user interface design. We spend a lot of time interfacing via screens, and it's become imperative that someone makes that interface look nice and usable. And that's where the designer coders find themselves. So they're not just people that write codes, but they also understand visual design. It's an emerging profession. Design entrepreneur, obviously, all of you are this design entrepreneurs, clearly. So yeah, this cohort is actually for you, the design entrepreneur. It means you have the skills to create something that falls within the range of design, and you're making a business. So the entrepreneurship is what then takes a product of a designer to the market. It's under that platform of entrepreneurship where you have a brand name, a space where you sell or interact and people get to meet you. That whole entrepreneurship is what then delivers design products to the market. There are the design researchers. These ones work with like big firms and governments to plan things like strategy, policy documents, and all of that, right? So it's a bit of a hybrid. You're a researcher, but you're also doing design. And then there's the business designer. Like our dear Rose here, I would call Rose our project manager, a business designer, because this whole cohort, this whole training is the product of a business designer. You actually plan a program that would help designers achieve something. So essentially, design can be tangible, it can be intangible. Tangible in the sense that it could be a product physically that you can hold, or it could be a process that you cannot touch, but you follow through or obey. And then there's social innovator. They're all online, right? I'm just going to play this video for us. and it basically shows us in pictures what design thinking is, and I would ask us to listen attentively, and the rest of the class would just be like us deepening the concepts that we are going to see in this slide. So, but before I play, does anyone have any question or wants to make an input? I would really love that. Nobody? Are we all here? Sorry, I just like hearing voices.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said we were watching, Ama.
Yes, I said before I play the video, I was waiting to see if does anyone have any questions or anything that needs to be clarified so far. No, okay. So I'm just going to
I
play
have a
the...
question. I have a question. I have a question.
Okay, Joy.
Okay, you've said that the designers, the artists who are their own designers, and they design models that are for consumers, not what probably they would use, or I hope I've gotten that one correct. So what about if you design, or if you're an artist, you design like with me with my merchandise, I create things that appeal to me before they appeal to others, such that I don't know if I'm making sense. So
Yeah, sure.
my design is not it's mostly okay. I do get to research and ask my customers, the consumers of my merchandise, the kind of things that they would like. But then when I design them in a way not for the consumers first, for me. Then now I take them to the consumers. Now the consumers want them. Does it make sense?
So what you did was to first and foremost ask them what they want, right? And within that, within the responses you got, you then started thinking and creating. That's exactly what I'm saying. The design activity involves others, right? But it also, because it requires because it uses creativity as well, which is what connects it to art, right? Because you can be creative, you can have your own inputs, but you should have your own inputs into that product or service that you're creating, right? But it is not entirely up to you. It always requires because it requires you taking into consideration what the user, right, would want, because design is actually meant to solve a problem or create a solution to a problem, right? If it is self-expression, then it most likely would not solve a problem. It may, right? But it most likely would not solve a problem, and then it stays within the realms of art. It's no longer design. I see that there are some questions in the chat. Okay, yes, exactly. The fact that someone would come with a Pinterest idea. Yeah. I think. So yes, I'm just going to play the video. And please feel free, put together your questions and share when we are done. Okay, let's go for it.
So welcome to Phil, everybody. Today we're going to start in the step of empathy, which is the first step in our design thinking process. Empathy is the first step of the design thinking process. It is going out and experiencing what your end user experiences with your end user. Yeah. So empathy is experiencing what our end users experience. We want to walk a mile in their shoes, and if we can do this, we can find spoken and unspoken needs. Pause! Empathy could look something like this. Hold up, Doc. Like this. That was a lot harder than I thought. More like this. Are you gonna drink that? Man? Oh, oh, that is so unpleasant. How do you do that every day? They're really gonna make that easier to take. This is also what empathy could look like.
Who are you talking to?
That's empathy. If you go out and really listen to your end user, you will learn. And when you learn, you can create better solutions based off that knowledge. This is what's key here at the Innovation Lab. So listen well, and your solutions will rock. Yeah, empathy. That's what I said. That's what I said. That's what I said. All right, folks, welcome back to Phil. Welcome back from your empathy safari. After empathy, we go to reframe. So on your empathy quest that you had, were there any new insights? Were there any surprising new learnings that you could take? And this is what we do after we gather the empathy. We reframe. After we've really listened to our end user, after we've walked a mile in their shoes. This is the time where we can really figure out if we're solving the right challenge. For example, so here we are at a train station, and we're taking on the challenge. How might we keep people from missing their trains? Now, we assume that people are missing their trains because they're running late. But after talking to people and observing the environment, aka empathy, we learned that people were dealing with a long and strenuous ticketing process. So let's reframe the challenge from people missing their trains out of habit to how might we streamline the long and strenuous ticketing process. Therefore, people will make their trains. That is what we call reframe. So, okay. Yes. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at begin to change. Right. Now, it's called reframing. Yeah, welcome back. Are you guys ready to move on with the process? Perfect. Okay, last time we looked at our insights that we got from empathy, and we were able to reframe our challenge to meet those specific needs. So the next stage in our process is
That's a bit.
brainstorming is the next step of the design thinking process. This is a time when This is a time for rapid fire, wild and crazy ideas. We're talking quantity of ideas over quality. Look at the quality of it. Not wrong. Annoying. He is annoying. Not annoying. Shh. So, the point is, yes, we're looking for those wild and crazy ideas. But remember, to suspend judgment. No idea is a bad idea, especially when you've listened and experienced what your end user experiences. Remember, the best ideas come from your end user's needs. Yes. So Richard has covered all of it. Let's just start. Let's start. Let's ideate. Let's just do it. Why don't we come up here? Let's just start brainstorming. Just write it on this. Yeah. Oh. Alrighty, folks. You are now ready for the next step in our design thinking process, which is prototyping. Prototyping is taking your ideas, your brainstorms, and making them tangible and visible. Think show, don't tell. You're making a low-res version of your idea.
You're making a low-res version of your idea. Ow! Ow! As I was saying, you want to create a visual representation of your idea using simple and cheap materials. That way, your end user can interact and give you feedback on your prototype, aka your idea.
Yes, begin. Begin.
So now we're at the testing stage. How do you know if your idea is going to work? You simply bring your prototypes to your end users and let them give you feedback. Take the feedback and improve your prototype.
So what do you guys think? It's not bad.
Right, but have you thought about trying it in red?
That might work.
Come on, guys, we got work to do.
Come on, guys.
Now, what do you think?
We love it.
That's the great thing about the design thinking process. Whenever we get feedback, we simply take the prototype and tweak it. And that is it. That is all. Those are all the stages of the design thinking process. We hope you learned something today. If you're ever interested and inspired to experience this place yourself, come on down to the Florida Hospital Innovation Lab or check us out on social media. Oh, unpause.
Okay. So I'd like to hear what you guys think. This is I like this video a lot. It makes it very funny and cheeky, but there's a lot of lesson in it. And it actually breaks down the design thinking process. This is basically what it is. This is what you've all been doing anyways. And my job here is to make you very much aware of that process, so that you then become something you can actually deploy, and you're not going to have what we call creative block or anything of such, because you know exactly what you're doing. You know how to go out and look for the problem and go through that process in creating a product. So yeah, what do you guys think about what we've just looked at? The next couple of slides, we are now going to be detailing what each of those design thinking stages are. And yeah, let's have some talk. Okay, somebody sent something.
I hope I'm allowed to ask a question.
Yes, please, you're allowed. Somebody wants to do art and crafts.
Yeah, I also got the same vibe of art and craft. I think the most interesting thing is that the first step is empathy. And I think I'd want you to kind of talk more on that, because I think it's not a stage I would automatically think as the first stage of design thinking. If you don't mind, kind of expound more on how empathy really is crucial or the first step in the design thinking process.
Okay, somebody wants me to share the link to the video. It's not really about the video. If once you check on Google and YouTube, you would find so many videos on design thinking. I just use this one because I like it. I like how it's within few minutes breaks down this whole concept. Yes, Rose, I would answer that, and that's actually what the next slide is. There is no design without research. Tomorrow, you guys are going to be going through detailed sustainability, and at some point, the 10 businesses that would be selected at the end of the day would then have a physical retreat with 10 of them, and would actually go through a design thinking R&D process. right? But yes, empathy is really the research phase. It's about knowing the people or the person or the user or the consumer that you are creating for. You need to know what is needed before you start designing, right? If you don't do that, you're just going to be creating a product that may not have a market use. A friend of mine was, oh, somebody's coming in. Okay. A friend of mine was talking about that people that make video calls on, they had a product in the UK where you could call, you could pay to call people back home in Africa and all over the world. And now there's WhatsApp video call, right? If you go out and start designing a product for video calling without first having to do your research and realize that there's so many solutions out there already, you're just going to be reinventing the wheel. That's where empathy comes in. If you go out and create anyway, let me not dwell on it too much here because that's what we're actually going to be talking about in the next slide. But you kind of get a sense of what it is. You need to know what you're designing for before you start designing. There has to be a problem, an existing problem, before you start creating a solution. If not, there's no point doing that. And there's always a problem. We can never run out of problems or needs. Let me not use the word problems, but need states, right? There are need states that needs to be fulfilled. And that's where design comes in. Yeah. Who else? Does anyone else have a question or observation? Sorry, I like interactive classes. If it's not interactive, I kind of feel that we're not moving together, and people may miss out things. It's very good to ask questions, by the way. Every question is valid. Yeah. Okay. So no. Okay, somebody sent something. See, shared link. So empathy idea. Okay, cool. So what is design thinking? It's a philosophy, it's a mindset. It's that mindset that assumes that every human being can be and should be a part of creating their life, their outcomes, the desirable outcome, right? It's about establishing that process, initiating an action when faced with the challenges of everyday life, right? This positive kind of mindset is what we need. And we as Africans, especially, unfortunately, are more consumerist than production minded. And I think this is where all the concept and things about design thinking elude us, because we are mostly used to buying products that are not made by us, right? And the whole idea of this cohort is actually to empower people like you guys who are already of this design thinking mindset, because you're already design thinkers and you're already practicing design thinking. It's to equip us with the necessary skills, make us see what we're doing, and then turn back and look at our environment and start creating. Unfortunately for us as Africans, we have a checkered history where a lot of who we are, what we are was taken away, right? And today we have, as Africans, we have new languages, we have new cultures, new products, new services, everything we're using, not everything, a lot of the things we use in life daily as Africans are most likely made somewhere in Asia or in Europe or in the Americas, and that has to change. That's the reason why we are having this kind of sessions, is to start creating this philosophy, this mindset, and start putting it in the minds of all of us, such a way that we'll start coming up with our own products, our own services, our own spaces, our own interaction, our own music, our own food, our own lifestyle, and all of that. All of that comes from a point of design thinking. It is human-centered. it's coming from understanding humanity, having the deep empathy around our needs, our motivations, our realities, our desires. What are the things that we want, right? We want to have a road that would go from point A to point B because we need to move from A to B to trade, right? We need to travel between Nairobi and Mombasa. We need to reduce that 9-10 hour road travel, so we build a rail, which makes it faster, right? So things like that, the understanding the needs of the clients. If you find yourself in the consulting practice of design, where you're either working to build up a brand or develop a product or a service for a corporate client, right? You also need to then work with them and understand their needs. You're not going to go there and start dictating or lording over them. Your job as a designer is to center what you're creating around the humans that would use it or that own it or that need it, right? It's a very collaborative practice in the sense that you don't, I said it before, you don't get to make your stuff as a designer primarily. You don't. So you're working with the funders, government agencies who may be regulatory, because there are some design practices that need regulation. Things like architecture, fashion, what is the fabric weight, is this standard? There's always a lot of stakeholder when it comes to design products, from the buyers to the sponsors to the sellers to the users to the regulators, to government, schools, churches, and all of that. All are stakeholders, and you need to carry everybody along to get best results. If not, it would not be a product that is fit for market because it's just going to be there and it will not sell. It's optimistic. It's the fundamental instinctive belief that we can all create change. We can all make things better. The reason why we design is to make life better, really. The reason why you see continuous iterations on product and services is just to make things better, right? So you have models. You have iPhone. What's the first iPhone? The second, the third, the fourth, fifth. Each one is an improvement of the other. The airplane has also gone through several iterations of it being improved. So you test, you design, deploy, and then you take feedback, right? You see what is working, and then you create a continuous loop of activity that at every time you go around, a new product, a new and better product emerges because you've gone through the market and gotten some experience, right? Yeah. And this has nothing to do with budgets, really, because it's about the user. The more we keep using, if the product is not continually innovated on or improved on, it will just die in natural death. I mean, we know the stories of Kodak, who totally rejected the emergence of digital camera. They made fun of it, actually, and we're like, how can, like, they were very big in the market and never believed that anybody could take them out of the market. But a few years down the line, a few decades down the line, everybody has a super powerful camera in their hands. Nobody at Kodak would have believed that, right? It's like the internet emerging and social platforms emerging, and journalists, content creators never just believed that it could become a thing, and they resisted it. And eventually, it's democratized media and content and how we use it. So these are all designs, these are all solutions, these are all innovations that are continuously iterating. And if you look at the mobile phone, for instance, it's an amalgamation of different devices, right? It's the camera, it's the television, it's the typewriter, it's the computer. All of that is being improved on and being made into a better device. And that is because people have identified a need state of wanting to have all that possibility in one device. And that's what you have as a mobile phone. It's also projected that in future we may actually not have a device, physical device anymore, because it's now becoming a problem carrying these heavy things around, right? How about implanting them on our palms, on our body? You know, just that's how design thinking works. You keep improving, and it's a process that is enjoyable. It is very, very experimental in the sense that you could just, you know, in the way you, sorry, somebody just came in. Sorry, you came in a bit late, so you're just gonna have to move with us. Can you mute? Okay, I can mute. Good. Okay. So design thinking is all about learning by doing and doing it again, right? It's the confidence and better ways are always possible. We should always improve on things. So as creators, as designers that make products, which I believe that all of us here are, you don't just make a product and then go to bed, right? You sell it, you take feedback from your customers, and then you come back to, you know, improve on that product and release version 2. That's how it works. So before we continue with applications of design thinking, I think I would like to hear from us so far on what we've seen and what we've heard. And yeah, I would like to have that conversation. Not you, Rose. Yeah, go ahead, Nicole.
I like that you gave the example of mobile phones. It made me think of BlackBerry, how they used to be like such a big company, but then when everybody was switching to screens, they didn't want to do that. They wanted to stick to their QWERTY keypad, and by the time they wanted to do touchscreen, it was already too late. I kind of see the same thing happening to iPhone. As big of a company as it is, they don't really have the best cameras anymore. I see everyone moving to the flip. Oh, baby, keep quiet. The flip screen. You know, like Samsung got the flip phones, and if iPhone doesn't start doing that, they're not really innovative with their design process anymore, like with their design thinking. Seems like since Steve Jobs died, they're kind of like doing the same thing, and I'm not really seeing innovative designs. So how do you as a company do design thinking without looking like you're copying the trend? And when can you jump onto the trend before it's too late? Because you don't want to look like you're copying your competitors. Yeah. And you also don't want to be left behind.
Yeah. So to stay ahead of the curve in innovation, you need to have that as an integral process in your organization, specifically speaking about organizations now. And that's what you have as R&D labs in every corporation or government. There's a policy making department, or there's a design and research department. That department's job is to continually be out there in the market, taking feedback, conducting interviews, taking product reviews. That's what product reviews are for anyways. I mean, you've clearly stated it. Flip phones is a thing. In my country, dual SIM is a thing, right? I would have started using iPhone way long. I don't have an iPhone. I tried once and I had to just throw it away because I have 2 numbers, right? And I don't like carrying 2 phones around. I just want one phone. And so dual SIM phones work for me. That is understanding the need of the user, right? And the only way you would understand the need of the user is to assume or put yourself in a position where you would become empathic with their existence, right? So being out there, conducting research, getting feedback is one way to do it. For an organization, what they just need to do is to then have that as an integral process, integral part of their product development process. So you develop a product, yes, but you don't just go to bed, right? You'd keep reaching back to the buyers. What's up? How do you see this product? What do you want to be changed on it? And all that information is what you then bring back in the next iteration of the next model of that product. And at the end of the day, you would make it. If you are not big on design research and design thinking, what is going to happen to you is what happened to Kodak. It's what's happened to every other company that has failed because they were not listening. Now, if you're not doing that, you may end up just hopping on trends, right? Hopping on trends is also another way to do it. I mean, there are a lot of brands that have survived on being knockoff, so they just don't invest in any research or any design thinking. They just wait, and once they see that company A or brand A has innovated, they just copy. But that's just going to make you what you are, a copycat, right? And it's fine if that's what you want as your brand positioning. But if you want to be a leader in innovation and be the product to copy, then you need to have design thinking, which is research and development, as an integral part of your process. Yeah, I hope I answered your question, Nicole. Does anyone else have anything they want to ask or clarify? It can be quite design thinking. Okay. Sylvia says, so in a nutshell, empathy, define, ideate, prototype equals research, mood board, sketch, collection, then test. Yeah, these are all terminologies that can be used interchangeably. The whole idea is to break it down so much so that everybody understands it. And in having that understanding, it then becomes a conscious process that you apply daily in your lives. I'm sure when you guys go back to your organizations or your business and then look at the same products you have, you may realize that you've just created a product that is not needed, right? And that may be the problem why it's not selling, not because you're not doing enough marketing, right? Or you just realize that you've created something that is amazing and you'd have a better understanding of who to sell to, where to sell to, and what to sell exactly. And that's the whole point of this program. Yeah, somebody wanted to say something? Come on. I need questions. I'm hungry.
Okay, let me ask something.
Yeah.
If you're asking questions, I don't know, I get this social anxiety when I'm asking questions.
Nah, it's fine. This is a safe space. It's fine.
What I have understood from design thinking is more involved are in the consumers and in the users. And so I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, but does it also mean that not everyone applies design thinking in their business, in their creativity, in their artistry? I'm asking that question for the fact that as I was listening in, I've just sat down and I've thought of Kenyan landlords and their architects. I do not think at any point these people apply design thinking at any point. They will put up anything, and as consumers, we will take it because we want a roof over our head. So in an instance like that, does it mean that not everyone applies design thinking in, their organizations or their businesses?
Okay, so the process of, once you go into a process of creating a product or a service, you are already doing design thinking. Now, how well you do it is what differentiates you from the others. Now, doing it well also entails learning and becoming conscious that this thing you're doing is actually a process-based thing, right? It's not just that you're building. So those landlords who just build anything, their time is actually numbered. Their time is actually very short, because what will happen is, because housing is a need, right? It's a proper need, and you're giving people 20%. You don't think of how they would live in the house, how they would interact, if there should be green areas. You just just a roof over your head, be minimal. What would happen is that if someone else then adds a layer to a building, so it's not just a building, but the person thinks of, okay, how can I make this building affect the psychology of the person living in it? How does it affect their mental state of being? I'll give you an example. I have a friend, an architect, that one of his clients complained a lot about his house. He always had a fight with his wife every time he comes home. And my friend went in, sat with them for a couple of hours at home, because the guy actually called him in and said, look, I think there's a problem, right? Every time I'm in this house with my wife, we are fighting. But anytime we are out of the house, there's no problem, right? And the guy looked at it and realized that the way the staircase was done is actually a platform for conflicts to start. First and foremost, it was annoying. It doesn't look nice. And it was so tight and in a bend that they both always kind of clashed, right? In the ephemeral world, trying to use that stairs. And he broke down that stairs and rebuilt it, and the problem stopped. That's actually very deep level, high level empathy. But that comes with understanding. I mean, I worked on a brand where the owner of the brand, it's a dessert and a confectionaries. They make, the brand's name is actually Sweet Tooth, right? So we're trying to create an identity that would sit well with the owner. This woman is well traveled all over the world. She's a child at heart. She's a sweet tooth. Eventually, she kept saying, "Oh, I'm a sweet tooth," and I'm like, let's just name the business Sweet Tooth. That was it. Like, so when you hit design, it's always that thing that you be like, oh wow, I should have thought of, how didn't I think of this? That's when you know you have a good design, right? And then having that sit out with the clients, immersing myself into her world actually made me realize that she likes colors. And if you see the brand, it's quite colorful, right? So those are the things. Yes, you can get away with just putting out anything in the market, but we are talking about excellence here. We're talking about being relevant. We're talking about actually solving human problems and not trying to just be a capitalist and just put out anything and just make money. There are levels to that. Yeah, somebody says, I think I usually have that issue of doing things that don't trend. I just do them because I like them. Exactly. If you're just creating things because you like them, you are doing art. Just know that you're creating art, right? It's self-expression. It's actually nice, but you've not put in the user as part of the creation process. So therefore, it's not for the user, it's for you. It makes you feel good, which is good, and that's art. And if then you're able to get people to buy your art because they like you, then that's fine. Then they are buying you, right? So I think that's just different. Yes, someone else should say something. I'll start nominating. Sorry, we are not living here. This is my part. Okay, Leslie, you joined us somewhere. Can you, it's not too much for me to ask. Leslie and Brian and Faith, if you can unmute and introduce yourselves and just tell us generally. And someone else just came in. Please feel free. I'd like this class to be very interactive between.
Hello.
Go ahead.
My name is Faith Muteki. I have a question. How design thinking is applicable to what is it called? When you want to come up with a price for your goods, how do you apply design thinking to that?
Okay. I take that question, right? I think somebody else wanted to, is it Brian or Sue wanted to ask a question?
No, you can go ahead and answer that.
Okay, so how do you apply that when you want to price your goods? So, okay, first and foremost, setting the price for a product would not necessarily be classified as part of design thinking or a design profession, right? But yes, there's a design thinking in it, right? What do you do? What is the product you're selling? Go to the market. What are the prices, right? In going to the market and taking stock and note of the prices of that product or similar products in the market, what you're doing is actually research. You're actually finding out information. You're trying to solve a problem, which is a problem of pricing, right? And because you want to offer a product that would compete at the level of pricing, you then want to go out there and have that empathy. Empathy in the sense that you want to know how much those similar products are sold in the market. If you don't do that, you're going to fail because you're either going to overprice or underprice your product. That is design thinking. Straight up design thinking. And you put your product out there, you promote it, you sell it, and you realize that it looks like this price is not really working. I'm underselling myself. Something makes you come to that realization, and it's the constant feedback you're getting because someone buys and says, this product is just too expensive. Why can't it just be sold? That is feedback, right? And that's also part of design thinking. It's also a stage in design thinking, getting feedback. And when you get that feedback in your next pricing, you consider that, which is your next iteration. And then, very good. Nicole wants to say something. Please go ahead. Yeah, you can go ahead, Nicole. Okay. Can she hear me? Can anyone else hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can hear you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Yeah. So I usually just sell these bags at events, and I try to use design thinking in, like, my target market is people that, of course, everybody loves bags, and the problem with bags is, especially the Chinese ones, they finish too fast, or you have to replace them often. So the good thing about my bags is that they're made from tire tubes. So tire tubes last like 80 years. It takes like 80 years to biodegrade, to break down. So these bags, they're durable. And the prices I sell them are like 2,000 shillings a bag. So this one time I'm at an event, and this time I was selling the bag for 1,500 shillings. And somebody bought a bag, and I didn't check my M-Pesa. Then later on, I realized that this person actually paid 15,000 shillings for the bag.
Woo.
So I was like having a dilemma. Do I tell them? Do I keep the money? What happens if later on they find out that they sent me this much money, and it's like a case? So in the end, I just decided, after speaking to my mom, and she's a really godly church woman, she told me, just tell that person. So I had to call that person back. She was still at the event, and I told them. But when I was having a conversation with them, they were trying to convince me that the bag could be worth 15,000 shillings. I was thinking, am I pricing them wrong? She was like, she would have paid 15,000 shillings for that bag. And after me telling her the truth, she ended up buying a couple of more bags. So I didn't really make the amount of money that she would have spent if I kept the money, but she still bought like 2 or 3 more bags. So that has really given me such a dilemma. How do I know which person is going to see that this is a really creative and innovative bag and it's worth 15,000 shillings? And how do I see somebody that's how can I tell the difference between who's going to buy it at 1,500 and who's going to buy it for 15,000 shillings? What's the right price for these bags?
Okay, first and foremost, I would have told you what your mom told you. It's very important that we are honest and we are truthful. So it was a very good thing for you to just ask the client. But in doing that, you've also realized that your product could actually sell for a higher price. Now, that is an accidental research or feedback that you've gotten. which you want to take and start fine-tuning. However, there are a couple of things at play in your story. The first question that I would ask is, why do people want bags, right? If we say it's because they want something that is durable and tangible, is that why they buy bags? I think I belong to a group that somebody said, asked a question, sent some pictures of the product that she's making. I think it was leather bags or suitcase or something. I can't remember. Something exactly. She sent it. She shared the images, and he or she, I don't know, shared the images and was like, what do you guys think? Should I put a square strap or no, or a circle strap? And somebody responded and said, we don't actually need the product. It may come across as rude, right? But that is a straight feedback. Now, what you want to do is to enable a process that allows you to keep getting those feedbacks constantly. You may just realize that actually it's not bag that people want. They may actually want something else, right? But the bag is giving them that thing they want, right? What they want is to be able to carry what they buy in the supermarket from the supermarket, for instance, to their home, right? What they want is carrying things to home, not the bag. Now, if you understand that you can actually create a product or a service where people can just buy and they don't have to carry those things physically in a bag, but those things will be carried for them home, because the need state is actually getting those things home, not them carrying it. So they don't need a bag, they need those things taken home. And these are the things that design thinking and research would help you unearth. You begin to identify what exactly is the need state of people. Do people need cars, or do they need to get from point A to B? These are two different things, right? A car is one way of getting from point A to B, but the need of people is actually getting from point A to B, not a car. So if you end up creating more cars and giving them more cars, you may fail. But if you're able to innovate something that moves them from point A to B, then you've innovated. It could be a car. It could be a better car. It could be teleporting skills. It could be, I don't know if I'm I'm seeing questions. Somebody raised his hand. Okay, okay. Barbara, please go ahead.
Thank you. I think I really like Nicole's story, and I think it raised a question for me, because as an artist, you'll have people who buy into you because they believe in your vision. So example, the lady who bought the bag for 15,000 because she felt like this is a good vision for her business. So she believed in her. So how do you balance reaching those people who believe in your vision and then reaching the people who you think you're creating a solution for? Because people who believe in you and your vision will definitely always pay more because they feel the value is higher. Although you still want to get more customers who find the value in what the product is, what the problem the product is solving. So I feel like that's usually a bit of a challenge to balance the two groups. I don't know if you have an idea how to do that.
One way of doing that is to create different product segments, right? So which is why you can have a bespoke product offering where you design specifically for a particular client. Fashion designers do it a lot. Automobile designers do it a lot. Call it high-end, low-end, standard, basic, whatever it is you want to call it, right? It's having different segments, and those segments come with different price points, right? So if you're going to buy a customized, if you're this sporty kind of person that likes your drive, your speed, your maneuvering and all of that, then you're going for an AMG, right? An AMG Mercedes-Benz is actually an edition specifically made to serve a certain kind of clientele, and it comes at a price, right? So what you do as a designer is to then start creating product segments. What Nicole's clients needed, with that information, all she needs to do is to create another set of bags that would be positioned as high end. So it if you had one layer of fabric in the normal one you double it, right? If you had one color, you double it, or you make adjustments that will make it become more durable, even more premium, even more beautiful, and offer it as a new product category for a new segment. And then that kind of person would buy it, still keeping the other one. And that's how you grow your product range. I don't know if that answers your question, Barbara.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Cool. Do we have any other? I'm enjoying myself now. Are you guys enjoying yourselves? You can just unmute your mic and say hi. I think Joy, you raised your hand, or was that a clap?
No, I had raised my hand.
Okay, so go ahead. Go ahead.
So I wanted to I think it's Nicole, yeah, with the bags. So I wanted to tell Nicole something. So when I started doing my business, I focused on beads. So I make beaded bracelets. I use Maasai beads, just Kenyan beads, any beautiful Kenyan beads that I can get. So there's this time I also do markets. I also go to markets because I don't have a physical shop. So there's this time I went to a certain market, and I became sick in the middle of it. Then I had someone else with me, and then I left them to do the selling. So there's this customer who came, and this particular bracelet was $10, 1,000 shillings, yeah. And when he told the customer that this one is $10, and the customer was like, $10? This is very little for $10. So that was the kind of clientele that was in that market on that day. So what my friend did, added on something for like $10, added like $40 on top. So he was selling something for $10 at $50. So I didn't know. So later we're doing the calculations, the accounting and everything. And I'm like, we've made so much money today and we've sold little product. So when I went home, I was feeling really bad because I don't usually have that discrimination with prices with customers. My prices are standard. So then I went home and I spoke to my mom, and I spoke to another person who has been in business for a very long time. And they taught me something called price discrimination. So there are customers who will want value for whatever they're buying. So if you tell someone something is $2, they will think, to them, with their class and with the kind of things they like purchasing, $2, they will refuse to buy your thing, not because it is not good, but it is underpriced, yeah, to them. So I learned that in every market that I go first, I learn the certain kind of clientele that are there. And according to the kind of clientele that I find there, then I know the prices that I'm going to make. I value my product. I will know that if I'm valuing my product at $10, then it means that maybe I'm getting 70% profit. So even if I undervalue it to like 800, I'm still making like 50% profit according to that kind of market. I will go to another market where I will look at the clientele and I will be like, okay, here maybe it is 100% profit. So I was taught at first I thought it was something bad, but the more I spoke to business people, they told me, value your products well. If someone wants to come and overvalue your product, do not feel bad for that. If someone decides to overvalue, it means that to them, the way they view your product, the way they view whatever you're making, whatever you're bringing out to consumers, it is with a certain regard. So you shouldn't feel bad for that. If you go to a market where you see with the value of your bags and the uniqueness of your products, this is one thing as business people we always fail to see, the uniqueness of our products. You can go to a certain market where you're the only person who has the kind of bags that you have. You're the only person who's selling and manufacturing the kind of bags that you have, and your bags are going to be on demand. Do not undervalue them. As long as your products are unique, the one thing that has made me stay in business, in my kind of business for as long as I have been, is the fact that I bring unique products such that, if you're not getting them from me, you're not getting them anywhere else. And if that is the case, please do not undervalue your products. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Joy, for that. I'll just add that just because someone said your prices could be higher does not mean you then go and raise all your prices. What you want to do as a business is once you set your profits margin that you've created, right? You've covered the cost of production, your time in creation, your creative input, your design input, your operational costs, your marketing costs, your promotion costs, all of that. And then you add your profitability margin. You stay there, right? And just most importantly, ensure that you are selling a good product. Do not take a product that is not very good just because not take just about any product that can sell for X amount and sell it for 2X amount just because one person said that, right? It could also backfire. So it's a balancing game. You keep managing that feedback and improving on all of it, right? So yes, back to our class. That was quite a good detour. Where can you apply design thinking, right? You apply design thinking in creating processes, policies, procedures, planning, right? So process development, planning, and all of that is one area where you can improve what you're offering as a designer. So if you're a business designer, for instance, your job revolves around designing processes for use by either government or organizations. So that is one application. It could be used in space planning and organization. So basically office spaces, living spaces, architecture, interior design, public spaces, recreational spaces, medical spaces, I find something very interesting. I'm not Kenyan. I've not been here too long. And I think I'm noticing that I may be wrong, but most of the hospitals I've visited have a Java in them. And I find that very interesting, right? Because where I'm from, nobody has actually thought about having a QSR restaurant in a hospital, right? And I find it very interesting because hospitals are where people come and everybody's all gloomy and doomy because there's one sickness or something. But having that restaurant, I mean, we eat, right? So the hospital is actually a public space. It'll be cool to have a restaurant, and seeing it here is like, oh wow, this is really good, right? Where I'm from, there are no restaurants in a hospital. and now it's beginning to look really bad. But it will take proper research and proper empathy. I mean, having gone to different hospitals back home to realize that, yes, we are here to see the doctor, but while we're at it, we also should be able to have a cup of coffee or have some food and all of that. That is design thinking. That is designing a space, right? Knowing that functionally, the hospital also needs to have a restaurant, right? Same thing applies to school. What's the age range of people in school? What do they need? What are their need states? Are just there? Is school just supposed to be where you come in and go into a class, or are there other use cases that you can create within that space that would make so space planning, organizational planning is all part of where design thinking comes in. Product development and deployment. I mean, we've dwelt on this a whole lot. That's where design thinking is. And lastly, creating experiences. I find this very interesting, right? I have this very nice example I always give. There was a concert in Times Square in New York at some point, some time back, where the concert was actually about download a concert actually. So they had this high crane and mounted up a very popular rock band on stage. So the stage was right there, like on 5th or 6th floor level kind of a thing. And then the rock band was playing there and people just gathered in Times Square there. And there was a link that was shared to download the concert, literally. And the more people shared the links, clicked on it and interacted with that link, that whole algorithm was working with the mechanism of the stage and dropping the stage gradually, right? So it was already programmed to get to a certain number of interaction, and the stage will be on ground. And literally, people downloaded that concert, and that's what they named the concert. That is one kind of experience that design thinking can help you create, because people like to download stuff, yeah? So you understand that in the States, and people like concerts, right? And you understand that, and you put that together and tell people to literally download their concert. That's experience design, right? There's so many experiences that can be created with designs. There's so many concerts that can be done. There's the one that happens in Kilifi that I'm hoping to attend. The concert at where is it again? Beneath the Baobabs, right? Yeah, so those are experiences in planning events, products, services, and activities. Those are the places you can use design thinking. So I've put down the design thinking process, and I think I'm just going to be a bit faster now on them. So the first stage of design thinking process is the design thinking stage is very structured. This is not cast in stone. It's just, this is my own creation, and you are very free to create yours. I read a couple of comments that try to outline them. They are all correct, but essentially it's about moving from problem to solution, right? So for me, it's 5 stages, which really can be 3 stages. It's from problem identification to clear understanding, to the ideation process, to the application deployment, and then sustainable outcome, right? So what is the problem identification? In this stage is where you understand the challenge, ask questions, reframe questions, carry out research, go all out, right? Learn as much as you can learn about the subject or thing you're creating for. Don't, like they say, suspend all judgments. Do not try to box yourself. Just get as much as information as you can get. That's what happens at this stage, because you're trying to pull things together, right? Collate all the inspiration you're getting and all the feedback, all the things you're seeing, all the products, all the services, all the possibilities, all the technological possibilities, and what is in the market, what is needed. Just go wild, right? After this stage, you need to then start moving towards having a clear understanding of all you've done, right? This is where we piece the information together. This is where we start creating stories. This is where we start looking for meanings in all that we've done in the research stage. And when you get to this stage, you begin to actually, when you have a lot of information, you begin to actually see a pattern of what it is that you need to create, or you have a clear path to what it is. And you start identifying the opportunities, right? And this is very integral. After that, with what you have, you then go, so it's like you go wide, you narrow, and then you spread again, right? So based on that, the meanings you've made, the empathy you've got, the understanding, and all of that, if the ideas that you're going to generate, what can they be, right? Because now you have something concrete, right? And then you start generating ideas. Here you go wide again, right? Create so many ideas, throw them out, sieve through them, and begin to refine, right? So that's the ideation process. From refining, you then create a prototype, right? Because you've gotten an idea, you've refined it, you've narrowed down to 1 or 2 or 3 or a few ideas. You then make prototypes. Prototypes are very good because they allow you to test your product. They allow you to, quickly see what the end product would look like. And at this point, you then open it back up, right? And this is not a linear process, by the way. You can start from the middle and go back. It's just juxtaposed, right? You could find yourself in the middle with a prototype and be like, okay, how do I move forward? What exactly has happened? How did you come to this prototype? You can then move back, and all of that. Get your feedback, deploy your prototype, and refine it and make it better. And then you think of sustainability. How do I continue doing this? Because there's a lot of money involved. It has to do with economics, right? You take your learnings, track your learnings, take them, keep them, look at them, review them, find out what is working, move forward, move backward, repeat the process, take out the excesses, instill the benefits, and dwell on the things that work. And you have a product, right? And then you keep repeating this cycle and keep going through all this process every single time. And what happens is that with every iteration loop, you would come out with a better product, a better service, a better experience, a better offering, right? If a couple of things to bear in mind when doing design thinking. Just note that you are a designer, so you need to be very intentional and confident about what you're doing. You need to be strategic. You need to have a listening ear. You need to be really inspired. And one way to be inspired is to go out there and live it up. Like, be in, you can't be a furniture designer, for instance, and you are not all out there looking at what furniture is being made. You're not listening to furniture news. You're not subscribed to furniture magazines. You're not part of a furniture group. So it's about really immersing yourself. Victoria, please go for your question or contribution.
Sorry. So I have been trying to get a hold of everything we're discussing about, and from what I'm hearing a lot is we're talking of tangible goods. We're talking a lot about tangible goods, and I mean, what about those that are not tangible? I don't know whether you understand what I mean.
Yes, I do totally. I don't know if you joined us in the beginning of the class, but I think all through I've given examples of process, tangible and intangible. So for your benefit, I'd go back a few slides where we clearly defined. So this is what design is, right? Is a plan, is a framework, is a process for a commercial activity to create tangible and intangible products, right? Tangible could be your mobile phone or your building, your furniture item. Intangible are things like policies, plans, experiences, right? They're not physical, you cannot hold them, but they are products of design, right? This slide clearly says an approach to just solving about any challenge, the tangible and intangible, right? So yes.
Okay. I think yes, I listened through all these. It's only that for the examples that came up with Nicole and what Joy was responding to, I was relating a lot to tangible goods.
Okay.
That is why I was like, okay, so for me who doesn't do tangible, how do I go about this? But
okay, what do you do?
I am a photographer.
Photography is very tangible.
Yes, but now I was looking at it in terms of for bags and for accessories, those are things that are actually there. So when they were when they were talking about pricing and all that, for me, I feel like it's a bit different. Because you basically ask for money even before delivering. And
yeah. Okay, yeah. Let me give you an example. I'll try to give you like maybe one or two examples, right? I do business design, for instance. So I can be engaged to look at the process of an organization's offering, critique that process, audit it, and come up with a better solution. That is actually a design product in itself. So what I'll do is I would come to that organization. Case in point is I had a hospital where they wanted to like improve on their process, right? From the point people walk into the hospital to when they get to the reception, then they register, get a card, and up to when they see a doctor and then get treated. And we kind of realized that some of the processes were doubled, right? Some of the processes were doubled. So people will get to reception, and reception will then usher them to sit down, and then somebody else comes to present a form that they're going to fill and takes that form somewhere else. And then that other person then calls them to come and provide another second information, and that alone increased the time frame of service delivery. So what we did was to just merge it. We said, okay, based on our audits, we can clearly see that this guy at the reception can actually administer this form and take all the information and then pass it on to payments immediately, right? And with that, we're able to cut down about 10 minutes in the process of getting into the hospital, from the time it will take you getting to the hospital to seeing the doctor. That's intangible design, right? We've not created any physical product, but we've been able to review a process and make it faster and better for the users, right? Who are the people that would come to the hospital. In photography, for instance, you have a tangible product, by the way. However, there's also the intangibility part to it, right? So if people do photography, they say, come to my studio, and then you just have a studio set up. And you really interrogate that process, and you realize that what people actually want is nice pictures, not to come to your studio to shoot. And then you begin to think, how do I give them nice pictures, right? Do I then create a service where I actually follow them? You can call me and I'll follow you to your event, or an open day session photography kind of a thing where I get to follow you all day and cover your life in one day, right? Or is it that I can then offer a service where I come at certain times of the day to document your life, and I give you those pictures in digital format, and I also print them, and I have the print such a way that it has this thing that you can scan and see the digital. You know, it's all there, it's all fluid. It's just about understanding what the need state is for the user, and then innovating around that, right? If you look at how photography is done, for instance, how can we improve on it? That's what I'm saying. How can you make the experience better, right? Now, there's Google Photos, for instance, which automatically is archiving our photos as we take them and our lives. And I've been looking at my Google Photos and I'm like, what can I do with this? A photographer can actually come up and say, look, I actually help people print photos, or I help people realize or organize or edit or document their Google Photos, right? That is a service that can be offered. It's about understanding the need state, and then you begin to innovate. And it all starts with research and empathy. Once you do that properly, you would see what to create. Faith, you have something to say? Faith, your hands are up.
I wanted to comment on what Victoria said. I am also a photographer, by the way. I wanted to ask her the first thing, what kind of photography she's practicing, because in Kenya, the field of photography is a little bit complicated compared to other regions in the world, in that sometimes you might have a client who wants, depending on the kind of photography you're doing, you might be in photojournalism, you might be in documentary photography, fine art photography, all of these things, depending on who you're working with, they are very different depending on who you're serving. Because for some clients, you might, for example, in photojournalism, you might have to wait to be paid at the end of the month. If you're doing services where you're going on location with certain subjects, you might have to ask for a 70% deposit first or a 50% deposit first, depending on how you're working with them. And then there are other areas such as NGOs where you have to wait for, let's say, 30 days to be paid. And in other instances, you have to wait for example, if you're working for corporate, you have to wait, probably be paid weekly. So it depends on you and the clientele you're serving for you to know how you're going to structure your content and your photography. And in some instances, you're going to be asked to deliver photography and written work. So you have to adjust depending on what you're being asked by the client sometimes. It's a different kind of scene. I don't know what kind of experiences she's had. I would love to hear that, but yeah, I just wanted to comment on that before it skips my mind.
Okay, thank you for that, Faith. In fact, funny enough, as we were talking, I just got a prompt on my phone. Somebody shared the memory with me on Google Photos. I think curation is one area where we can innovate in as photographers, right? In curation. Our world currently, we have lots of content, right? You go on Twitter, there's just too much content. And the need for curation is constantly on the rise, right? People want, yes, there's things all there, but I don't have the time. I need to make sense of it. I think this is one area photographers can innovate in. It's really about understanding the need states. Victoria, your hands are up.
Oh, okay. I didn't know I need to lower it. But anyway, thank you. I have gotten Fade's point, and I also got what you said. So yes, I've gotten clarity on it. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you may want to actually explore curation. It's very still out there. I see what Google is trying to do with photos. Things like memories go way back when, you know, they just, and they do this, it's all AI, smart learning, and you can curate, right? You can actually have a feedback mechanism where everybody that you've worked with, you would have direct contact with them, and you can actually help them curate pictures, or you can actually prompt them stuff, and you know, so all of that is everything is green, everything can be innovated on, and everything can be made better. So yeah, and that brings us to sustainable outcomes, right? So what are the things that you can keep doing to make things better, to make products better, to make goods and services better, right? And that's what sustainability is about in the design thinking stage. And yes, so when you're designing, leave your comfort zone, right? Leave what you know, break your routines, get inspiration from everything, move around, hang out with people, talk to people, be very, 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 very observant, right? Because that's where it starts. You need to look at things, be out there. Don't be out there and be in your phones, right? Because like they say, technology has made people to be close to others when they are far away, but when they are together, you are disconnected because you are on your phone, right? Anywhere you are, immerse yourself in that space, talk to people, learn about things, observe what is going on. It will just make you become a better designer at the end of the day. Have a beginner's mindset. Don't ever assume you know it all. Ask questions. Always approach everything from a blank white sheet perspective. See everything as an opportunity to grow and learn and improve, and just have fun and create great work. See every problem as an opportunity. I can say this on my country. We are so saddled with so many problems that we've so turned all of them into opportunities, and have just been able to create a life where we are always surpassing problems. We are always finding a way, we are developing solutions around problems. So every problem that you encounter in life is actually an opportunity to grow. So don't say what if, or say what's wrong. How can I fix it? How can I improve on it? How can I use my work to make it better? Yeah, so let's innovate new products, identify any state around you that you can create a solution for. It could be in your product, current existing product. So go back and look at your product outline, because at the research and development session we are going to have sometime soon, we are actually going to be innovating products in your businesses, and those products are what we will then innovate a new one or review what you have in existence, and those are products are what a lot of you that would make it to the finals would then crowdfund for and exhibit, right? But of course, everybody's going to crowdfund. So these are the things we are equipping you with, and we hope that at the end of these sessions, you would have gotten enough all-round knowledge and the skills required to then relook what you're doing, because you are all design thinkers already, great ones at that, and consciously then tread that same path again for better outcomes and better user satisfaction. Yeah, so start thinking of how you can make things better, and let's meet at the retreat. So at this point, I am going to shut my mouth and hear you guys out. and answer your questions. And if none of that is happening, then I would hand over to Rose. So yes, any questions, feedback, comments, reviews? If I didn't do well, please tell me. It's good feedback for me, you know. Okay, everybody's quiet. Are we here? Okay, I have a question in the chat. Okay, thank you for that feedback. So I'm going to stop sharing. Yes, so Rose, at this point, I'd say over to you. And
Thank you so much, Chuma, for that session. It was very interactive, and I believe we've learned so much. I can see in the comment section, a couple of guys are saying they've learned so much. Asante, thank you so much. Again, guys, thank you for attending today's session. We do have quite a number of workshops taking place. You will find in your email addresses. I've sent you guys an email with a program of our sessions. So tomorrow at the same time, 11, we will have a continuation of today's workshop called Sustainability Workshop. It's going to be run by Antonia Kihara. And today in the afternoon, we do have the Thundafund team, which is a crowdfunding platform, talking more about selling products and how to sell your crowdfunding campaign. So you'll find all the links in your email addresses and also in the program. Chuma, if it's okay, we can share today's maybe a presentation for guys to maybe review and see and reference. I know someone wanted to watch the video, wanted the link to the video, so you can get the chance to watch the video again. I don't know if anybody has any questions out of the presentation. In case, so Gloria asked, can we please get the recording? Yes. So what we'll do, we will be uploading the recording on our YouTube channel, on the Thundafund YouTube channel. So we will make sure to share all the links to all the workshops that we do have. But we do encourage that you join in so that you can get the chance to ask questions that you may have during the session. But for reference purposes, you will find the recordings on our YouTube channel. We'll be able to share that later. Yes, so I don't think there's anything else. Again, Chuma, thank you so much for that session. It was amazing. And thank you guys for being very interactive. And I also saw guys helping each other, and giving advice for guys in the same field. That was really good. It's very good to be supportive of one another's craft. So again, thank you. Do enjoy your afternoon. Hop on to the next session if you can. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, okay?
Okay.
Awesome. Bye, guys. At least say bye. Unmute and say bye.
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 Thank
Thanks,
you.
Chuma.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you.